I'll probably just go around, just quickly do some introductions, and then we'll get to the agenda. So I want to go, Mervyn.
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Mervyn Seaman, Vice President of this chapter, and HCA Healthcare.
Thank you, Mervyn. Let's see, TJ.
Thanks, Nasima. Everyone, I'm TJ O'Brien. I'm the CSHE Northeastern Secretary, and I'm Business Development for Blue Sky Restoration.
Right, thank you. And then, John.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. John Abraham, Chief Engineer at Kaiser Hospital in Redwood City.
Right, and let's see, Dennis.
Yeah. Dennis Thompson. I'm the Director for Healthcare Business Development in the Bay Area for Siemens Smart Infrastructure.
Thank you, Dennis. And Jack.
Hey, everybody.
Howdy.
Which, sorry, you said Jack, not Zach.
Oh, we have to. I'm not. I think it's Jack. Let me see if I get this correctly. Jack Alexander.
Howdy. So I'm in Sacramento at BMH Equipment. My focus has been healthcare. I'm really interested in making hospitals quiet and ergonomic. I've got fabulous casters that I love to share. And I'm interested in patient experience, especially. This may not touch on it, but I'm interested because I think quiet equipment makes for good sleeping habits.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining. Bill. I think Bill, yeah.
Yeah, good afternoon. Bill Summers, owner of Anchor Medical Company. We're a company that focuses on prefab and modular construction products in healthcare, namely modular wall systems for operating rooms and integrated ceiling systems also for operating rooms.
Great. Thank you. Thank you for joining.
You bet.
Bernard?
Hi, I'm Bernard Britz, Director of Sales with Forensic Analytical Consulting.
Thank you, Bernard. Ron?
Hi, Ron Gonzalez, Healthcare Business Development Manager for ADT Commercial, mostly focusing on healthcare security, fire, and healthcare communications.
Thank you, Ron, for joining. Sean?
Hey, Sean Dinovich. I'm the Facilities Manager at Adventist Health down here in Tulare.
Oh, great. Thank you, Sean, for joining.
My pleasure.
Yep. Kelsey?
I'm Kelsey. I'm actually down in the LA market, but I am a Siemens Healthcare Fire Life Safety representative. So I'm excited to hear what this is all about.
All right. Thank you for joining. Bob, haven't seen you for a while.
That's right. I have been out of commission for a bit, but I'm back.
Great.
I'm Bob Hostetler. I'm with the healthcare team at Granger. We do our best to keep all of the facilities safe and operating.
Perfect. Thank you, Bob. Raquel?
Hi, yeah, Raquel Sandy. I'm down here in Southern California, Regional Sales Manager with DizTech Controls.
Perfect. Thank you for joining. And Rich?
Hey, Rich Park with ATG, facility consulting company. We focus on life safety drawings for Joint Commission, fire life safety, asset management, and Joint Commission survey readiness preparation consulting services.
Perfect. Thank you. All right, Helena?
Yes, hi everyone, this is Helena. I'm with Siemens as well. I consult hospitals on their smart hospital strategy to improve patient experience and satisfaction, and based in LA.
Great, thank you for joining. And is it taken or taken? Taken, maybe? Taken. Hey, can you hear us? All right, and Liz.
Yes, hello. Just joined.
All right, you want to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I'm Liz Nielsen with Carrier Building Solutions Group and very interested in hearing about the meeting tonight.
Perfect, thank you for joining. And then we have a few more. Mark. Mark Kennedy. I don't know if you can hear us. Okay, we can go to Juan. Oh, yes.
Hello.
Yeah.
Hi, this is Mark Kennedy. I'm sorry. Trying to figure out technology. I'm at the airport in DFW.
Mark, introduce yourself.
With Gordian.
Okay, perfect. Thank you. And Juan.
Hello there, Juan Gonzalez here with First Response Safety and Compliance. We do life safety services, fire dampers, fire doors, and fire stopping. I am the Director of Sales and Operations for California, and we are based out of Los Angeles.
Great, thank you for joining. John?
Hi, hey, it's John Griffiths. Hey, good afternoon. Hi, I'm John Griffiths. I'm the founder of Context CA. We're an electrical engineering business focused on healthcare, based up here in Northern California, and very much looking forward to hearing what Dennis has got to say.
Perfect. Thank you for joining. And I think we have Jeff.
Yeah, I'm Jeff Stein, an architect in Sacramento region, and interested in hearing what you have to say.
All right, thank you very much. Charlene? Charlene, or how about Renee? Renee? All right, did I miss anyone? Oh, there you go, Stephanie. Stephanie? Okay. All right. Well, we can, if you got join in between, please, identify yourself on the text. So we'll get to know you. And so since we are already into the meeting here, so I'll go ahead and do the agenda first before we introduce our speaker. So thank you all for joining. So just a quick overview of our agenda today. Go through the state updates. We just had a state level meeting, I believe last week. So we discussed a few important things. Our strategic focus will be membership growth, networking, and education, providing educational support or webinars for our members. So that's kind of our focus for this year. So we have a lot of programs lined up for this year. So obviously the first one is the annual institute at Resort and Squawk Creek. We're cautiously optimistic. We're moving forward with that annual institute. It's on from June 1st to June 3rd. So please make sure you register. And I think Beth reminded me that early bird registration ends May 2nd. So that's a great discount. And after that, you'll have to pay the full price. So please make sure you register before that date. Again, as I said, depending on how things go, but so far we're moving forward. We made all the arrangements. We have good sponsors and a lot of response from most the affiliates and some membership. So obviously things are changing rapidly. So as I said, we're cautiously optimistic to move forward with that institute. So Southern California seminar, September 15th in Long Beach, and then Northern California seminar will be on October 20th in Fairfield. So again, plan for that. There'll be more information coming through with the agenda. So look forward for that. We also have 2 quarterly educational webinars. One is a CHA webinar. It's on May 11th. You probably got the invitation, so make sure you calendar that webinar. And then a good one, TJC, the Joint Commission webinar, July 22nd. So most of the time, Joint Commission, they do their updates July 1st. So there'll be new standards coming in. So we have our Director of Physical Environment from Joint Commission will be joining to do the presentation. It's an hour and a half. A good chunk of that will be new standards, how to score, how the scoring happens, how California hospitals do. So a lot of interesting topics on that day. So please make sure you calendar that and join the webinar. So again, you probably have received the information for registration. Both of them are free for all of our members, so no charge at all. So that's our educational opportunities. And then for Silicon Valley chapter, our membership, Beth actually informed we from last quarter, I would say maybe we had like 44, now we're up to 50 and facility members, and affiliates about 35. So it's a kind of a percentage we see all the time. But again, it's growing. So that's a good sign. We're also looking for a membership chair at the state level. So if you're interested, or if you know someone who actually, as I said, our strategic growth is to improve our membership. So again, this has to be a facility member who's interested, should provide their names to San Diego chambers or vice president, state vice president. And if you can always send an email to me or Beth or Joyce, and we will provide that information to San Diego. So so that's the membership chair, important position. Also, if you have any suggestions for future topics, please let us know. If you want to do a sponsor any of these presentations, please provide that information to Beth, and she will put that on the calendar. We also changed the meeting time. We used to start around 3 o'clock, but there was some requests, so we changed to 4 o'clock. Hopefully this time works better. So 4 to 5, people, it might be a good time to catch folks before they go home. Again, as I said, the member feedback, we are always interested in getting that feedback from the members so we can improve our processes. So ASHE update, as you all know, ASHE 2022, it'll be Boston, July 17th to July 20th. Again, it's a great conference. As you all probably, if somebody attended, you probably know how that's a beautiful, excellent, very well done conference. So so make sure that you get that on your calendars. And then with that, our educational presentation today, this is a requirement for we need to do on a chapter meeting. So we get a 1 point, I believe 0.1 credit, right? 1 credit, right, Beth? So 1 credit.
Yes, sorry, 1 credit.
1 credit, yeah. So we have a great speaker today. Without wasting time, so we will welcome Dell. So let me actually go to the slide 1 here. Dell Thompson, Dennis Thompson is the Director of Healthcare Business Development at Seaman Smart Infrastructure. And when I saw this topic, I thought this is the great technology topic that I think healthcare needs it, and especially improving patient care. So, this is a wonderful topic. So I will turn it over to Dennis.
Thank you there, Seaman. Let's see if everybody can see my screen there. Everybody see that?
Yes.
It looks great.
Okay, good. Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for the opportunity. I'm very impressed. I get involved with a few groups like this, and I'm very impressed at the engagement you have in a virtual setting. It's very hard to keep groups together and keep business moving and keep sharing ideas and collaborating in a virtual format. So you're in my in my view, you're doing a great job. We're going to talk today about some concepts, and they're really nothing new, but it's just a different way of looking at our business, how we operate our facilities, how we design facilities, and how we apply technology, which a much broader vision of what the goal is. Before you build a building to have people in it, to do things to in just some, all you can do to kind of just keep the lights on and keep things moving smoothly. We have opportunity with the application of different technologies and looking at use cases and things like that to basically look at healthcare in a much different way, and one that focuses on, at the end of the day, what's our job here is to provide an optimum guest patient experience, improve, be efficient with our operations, our resources, our people, our money, and if we're smart, we get ahead of it even on the new construction side. And I'll talk briefly about all three of those pieces. So first I wanted to talk about was here we go, right there. There we go. But just a quick calibration point for everybody, not to get everybody on the same page, but to kind of get everybody in the same mindset. And that is, we talk about things being smart. There's devices that we communicate with and use every day, our phones, our watches, our cars that are smart. We can connect with technology now. We can connect and we can integrate anything. So we can connect a lot of things. We can bring in a lot of data. The challenge has always been using that information, using these tools to change really outcomes of our business operations. And in this case, in healthcare, it is very focused on the patient, the guest experience that we call it. And that from the minute they come in the door to when they go home and they're receiving telehealth assistance and things like that, that's the entire experience that we're talking about. Obviously, we want it to be safe, we want it to be secure, we want it to be predictable, we want it to be cost efficient. So we'll cover a lot of those things. But when I use the word smart, I'm speaking to the application of technology in order to produce a better overall result. And so it's not about, a lot of things to produce a lot of data and have a really cool user interface. I'm not going to talk too much about that. So if any one of you wants to email me offline, I'll be happy to have those chats. So I want to identify, opportunities that improve the patient experience and operating results. A lot of people on the call here are responsible for the financial operation and deployment of resources in our healthcare delivery systems. So, we got lots of technology used to enhance a staff experience. We've got talented labor, people, workers in frontline providers we're very challenged to keep those people engaged, provide them a safe working environment to do their jobs efficiently, and not have and focus on the patient, not necessarily on just doing tasks. So they're healthcare givers. We want to give them the opportunity to provide that talent. So we describe basically how we use the Internet of Things and other technologies, how these things tie together and produce environments and solutions that help us run a better business. Identify some concepts with clinical that we've kind of come up with through having lots of dialogue with the clinical and operational staff within hospitals. Before, I think I don't know, I come from building for the last 40 years, high rises, data centers, biopharm, chip, semiconductor, healthcare, hospitals. I've kind of done it all. And what I found is I got very focused on building things. The last 10 years, all I've done is healthcare. And it's been hugely rewarding because I get to build things that have an impact on people's lives. Before, I felt like I was just building things. So we'll talk about how that, some of those, talking with the end users, or what the real goal we are trying to achieve with these people, with what we do every day. So, and then we'll talk about some innovative, cost-effective approaches to how we can physically build, design some of these facilities. So, all right. real quickly, talk about some key healthcare trends: smart hospital vision, IoT, cybersecurity. And each one of these could be a whole presentation in itself. So excuse me if I'm going to go too fast. I hopefully I'm just going to touch on the high points of these 5 areas. So obviously, in the administrative side of our business, these are key performance indicators. The high CAP scores, the reducing, falls and health, acquired infections in healthcare facilities, engaging the patients and their families that are with them through the experience here, and to using technology so that they have more enhanced, better experience. Leveraging information all the way from electronic records to the availability of using real-time location services and something simple like a nurse call system. It's an extremely intelligent device now, and really integrating the data and information that can come out of those tools. Shifting revenue streams. Obviously, we've seen a lot of procedures leave the hospital are going into surgery centers and to offsite acute care, post-acute care, rehab, that kind of thing. Those are gonna follow the money there, right? Those revenue streams are gonna drive different performance matrix and the different applications of the technology, so that again, the continued whole experience for the customer is somewhat predictable, efficient, and leverages the amount of data and technology and stuff that we have available to us. Enabling the continuum of care. I got a little slide kind of walks through that. I think it's pretty interesting. It's we see what the growth in those areas are. And the consolidation, standardization. Obviously, there's a lot of healthcare providers are consolidating, decentralizing some places, centralizing in other places. And that's going to challenge our facilities, our staff, and the proper application of technology. So, shortage of skilled team members. That's right. And everybody on this call, it's right in their backyard. And it's something I look at it as an opportunity. It's an unfortunate thing, but it's not going away. So I think from an opportunity standpoint, you have to kind of look and say, okay, now how can we better use processes, technologies, and standardizations such that we can keep those people focused on what they're good at, not doing tasks that are not related to providing health care. And the support staffs within the hospitals, give them the tools so that they can do their jobs with less people, because we do know that they are being challenged with the FTE counts being reduced and the availability of even those FTEs to even be hired. We need to do more with less. So we'll talk about that. Let's talk about the continuum of healthcare. I want to see if I can get rid of this top screen here. There we go. Well, patient sometimes starts here in a hospital. We actually see on the predictions and the change rate in over the last 10 years. I think this latest study kind of goes up to 2024. And we see that on a yearly basis dropping off to like 3%. The procedures and the people and the types of things that are always inpatient things in hospitals is moving out. Okay, it's which basically put a little more pressure on the emergency department, because not so many of those people are doing the right things and coming into the hospital the right way, coming in late. So, outpatient surgery centers, this is the big growth area, right? This is where, not saying called doc in a box, but it's basically where you can go to an off-site place and have your whole knee done in one day and almost walk out of there the same day. It's just absolutely amazing. But that's a shift in revenue streams, a shift in resources, and depending how decentralized the healthcare system is in that area, it could be a strain on support. Urgent care, retail care, we see, we're seeing all different business models here. So we see a growth about 5% over year to year in that area. Office and clinical is always gonna be there. We have a big the outpatient side of our business has just gotten it's exploding. So if all these things were completely independent silos and not under one healthcare giver, they wouldn't need to communicate or to talk or to share information amongst all those stops. But that's not the reality of it. The reality is that they are all part of the continuum of the patient care experience. So all the way back to their houses with telehealth calls and then the skilled nursing facilities. You know, these places used to be those were really not on our radar, not even 10 years ago. Now they are part of our whole, our continuum of care. So driving forces in healthcare, obviously, we have the opportunity to leverage a lot of information, use a lot of data analytical tools. There's some amazing products and technology out there. The clinicians and how we deliver healthcare are, looking at the processes they use and how to leverage technology so that they can be more efficient and, again, more patient-centric on how they deliver what they do. They're not shuffling paper just because they're great paper people. We don't want them to be great paper people. We want them to be healthcare providers. So recovery factors, we start getting better information on from the built environment and from the operating environment. And we can basically start to get very granular and see where the slips are in areas, not physical slips, but the slips are in operational efficiency or environment, and tie those back to maybe an acquired infection. And those types of analysis, you can do that a lot with these analytics. So, and obviously improved the healthier patients going out the door, reduces the readmission back in the door. And these are all performance indicators that most of you that are healthcare administrators, it's in front of you every day if it's not on a dashboard on your computer. So the push behind all that is stuff, you see these numbers every day and they change every day, right? So 1 trillion voice searches per month. So every time you hold up your phone and you say, what's the definition of something? That's a voice search. And it's just the application of technology, the data that comes out of that is just growing, just exponential. Face recognition, 99% accurate now. That's stunning. But what can we do with that? Okay, maybe we can track people around the hospital. We can track them coming in. We can make their entrance to the exit of the hospital almost contactless. Again, reducing opportunity to acquired infections or whatever it is. But you can use it from a security standpoint. You can use it from an operational, process delivery standpoint. IoT connected devices. I kind of always use the joke, okay, we got a smart water fountain, we can talk to it. Well, okay, that's kind of like would have been nice to have, but you think about it. Maybe that water fountain has a filter. Maybe that filter needs to be changed, and maybe that part of the maintenance people having to get up, walk around and take care of all those things and check all those filters could be automated. And so one, you could guarantee you've got a fresh water source, and two, you could reduce people just walking around, but only going to change water filters when they're needed. One of those that amazes me, all these Purell hand sanitizers. There's a lot of those ones that are smart. They have a little battery in them. They speak Bluetooth, and when they go empty, they can notify somebody, do something with that information. Look at it from the patient or the guest experience. They walk in the door, they go to hit that gel, and it's empty. Their first initial response of, I'm in this brand new facility, and they don't fill their hand sanitizers. It seems kind of silly, but those things can all communicate, and they can tell you when they're empty, and you can you can proactively get ahead of that thing that drives a little bit of that patient experience. So, big numbers like this. Americans using 200 gigabytes of data monthly. It's just everything we do is tied to the technology. So anyway, these are the drivers, and these are from a technology standpoint, and also the drivers in healthcare that we need to do a better job here on the clinical side, meaning provide our providers with better tools and environments that help them do their jobs better, more efficiently. Talk about smart hospitals here. It goes to in a smart hospital. I like the word. It's almost like it's intuitive. meaning it knows the type of guest that's coming in the door. It has an idea of where they want to go, and it deploys every bit of technology to help them get there, get in, get out, not walk around too much, and get the services they need. So they got wayfinding, types of things. What's the most convenient entry point? If a patient's driving up, he's going to park, and his phone's telling him, "Hey, park over here," and you don't have to walk across the entire campus. Again, what's his first experience? Their first experience coming into your facility. Again, this can all be voice driven, things like that. It just becomes really obvious. We're talking about the actual place the patient is in. It comes, creating perfect patient spaces. These are basically the healing environment. I'm in a room, I'm healing from a surgery. I can adjust the light, or the light can be adjusted automatically, tied to circadian rhythms, which has absolutely been proven to assist the healing process. We build hospitals now so people can see outside. That enables the patient experience and accelerates the healing process. But now we give them control from their phones, or from their bedside terminals, or from the pillow speaker, the nurse call system that's exceptionally smart. So they can control the room set point. They can control their own lighting. They can lower or raise the shades without getting out of bed. One of the things, two things, there is the calls to the nurse, the head nurse station, to come adjust my thermostat, adjust my blinds, that kind of thing. One, that's not the care. The nurse isn't providing exceptional caregiving there. They're basically doing a maintenance task, right? Where then the patient gets frustrated, the patient gets out of bed and does it themselves. They slip, they fall, we got a lawsuit. Everybody knows what those numbers look like. The more we can reduce this, give the patient control of their room from all things, not just TV and ordering and checking their meds, but their entire experience, from the lighting, the shade, the air conditioning, the channels, anything else that they want, so they control their healed environment. And then when the caregivers come in, they're coming in to just give care. So you got happy providers and happy customers. Talk about an opportunity we've, this is just more of a visual of the same thing. It's basically enabling all this through the nurse call, the handheld pillow speaker thing, right? And being able to, from the bedside terminal, right, interface with the HVAC system and adjust the thermostat without getting out of bed. And you put limits on this, obviously, so that people don't ramp them up or ramp them down and hurt, and try to do things with the system that can't be done. But again, it reduces the call. We found that one study we did here locally, we reduced the calls to the room from the nursing side by almost 65%. We reduced the calls to the facilities team by almost 70%. They weren't showing up with a guy in a ladder and popping the ceiling tile and playing with the HVAC system. They're basically, doing a lot of that remotely now. And so there's a little bit, you gotta play the mind game there too. Sometimes people just want somebody to show up. We like to think that should be the caregiver showing up to just almost like listen to them talk, but not necessarily to be adjusting things in their room. Give them control of their space. Smart glass is a really good one. It's another way of saying, okay, you shade control, you do smart glass, things like this. But again, these used to be very out there technologies, and they're with our office buildings, they're with everything we do now, and it's become very cost efficient too. Even an interesting one, the smart glass conversation was driven a lot by the fabric in the shades, and the fabric being a source of holding and containing and actually breeding contaminants. And so people started looking at that and saying, okay, what's one more space we can keep cleaner, more efficiently, and still provide the environment we want for our guests. Again, all these various things, you can adjust straight from either a phone interface or directly through a bedside terminal or even from your pillow speaker. So we talk about giving patients control of all these things within their space. And it's to enable two things. And you got to make, we're in a business at the end of the day, right? So it has to have a financial benefit. We'll say, what's the financial benefit? I got less people doing smarter things that affect the patient experience. That goes from the facilities operations people all the way to the clinical providers, because they're leveraging technology to allow them to not get distracted doing the things that are not their core competencies, which is providing for the patients. We can also use that to, broadcast and send out information, many, many different ways. So there's just a lot of different ways to do it. All that, amazingly, can be tied into a speaker now. You can be careful. These speakers have to listen. So that sometimes they're listening things you don't want them to hear. But they also have the opportunity to integrate systems very efficiently and in a way that makes that guest experience, more efficient and better overall. Again, giving them control of their own environment. We have a lot of opportunity to look at systems that are big energy users that are also big revenue producers, right? So, our room, when it's going in full bore, is X dollars an hour. CT machine is running, that's booked 14 hours a day is the hospital cash cow. Those are things we need to keep up and keeping them what we call, operational readiness. But the deployment of technology in around these spaces and integrating with these machines allows us to get very predictive about when we can schedule downtime, provides us more information so that the clinical staff needed to support these procedures is delivered more efficiently. And those people have a higher level of job satisfaction because they can, again, focus on the caregiving and the healing part of this. So, and then really looking at how these machines are operated from an energy standpoint. These things are huge energy users. And I think it's, you have to before they were untouchable, but now we can look at them and say, okay, if we deploy them a little more efficiently, well, that little bit starts to save a lot of money real quick. And that, that's just deployment of technology and processes and looking at how we integrate with machines, again, that used to be standalone. Now they're integrated into a smart hospital environment. So we talk about enabling processes that allow people to check in, check out, and receive services much more efficiently in a much steadier flow. The people coming in providing those services having the right access to information and resources to do that. Case in point, using things like real-time location services and smart tags to know that, oh, okay, I need to go get you a wheelchair. And I can either be back in 30 seconds because I know there's one down the hall and my smart technology tells me that, or I can go for a walk. Now, if I'm the clinician providing that, I have to go for a walk. That's not really fun stuff. I got to start opening doors and asking people where I can find a wheelchair or an IV pump or whatever. If I'm the person receiving the experience, I don't know when this little part of my journey is going to be closed, meaning they went for a walk. I don't know if they'll be back in 5 minutes or 55 minutes. Again, the more we can reduce that, we benefit the provider of the healthcare and the receiver of the services. And asset tracking, becoming a big one, because a lot of these assets, those little things, there's usually hundreds of them, and they usually cost a lot of money, and they get replaced sometimes because we just couldn't find the last one. And then 2 years later, we find an empty janitor's closet with 6 of them in there. And it's happened. I've seen it happen 100 times. So there are tools to get around that problem. This map right here is interesting. So it shows, we design buildings and we design places to deliver services. And then we have and then we hope the patient flow is what we did per design. Well, as services change and as technology changes and the relocation of certain equipment and computers and machine is now on the other side of the building, with what we're showing here is the actual flow of people and energy throughout the day. So it's not about the energy and the energy dollars. It's could we more effectively design our patient throughput, because this is actually tracking bodies and people. And it's just aggregated in heat signature. But could we're going to say we're going to remodel this space and it's going to have pretty much the same use. But we look at this information now and go, we could lay this out much more efficiently. We could distribute the HVAC much more efficiently. We could distribute the resources so that the clinical provider doesn't have to go from one side of that floor to the other just to pick up a device. And so again, looking how people are moving, looking how processes are delivered, you basically all that data is available to you now. We just connect it and we make it more visual so we can make better business decisions. Here on cybersecurity, again, this is a whole nother topic, but we all know the cost, we know the risk, and it's something that we need to manage, and we also to engineer and deploy technology in a smart manner such that we insulate ourselves much from these types of issues. So I kind of look at this as the beginning of, it's kind of like deployment of technology with the end in mind, right? So we connect all this stuff. Doesn't mean it's all comes to one spot and everybody gets the same view. When you start to look in and use user interfaces, the security guy only wants to see the security stuff. Facilities management wants this middle to high levels, stuff of how things are operating and make sure that the building's up and there's no alarms. Hospital management, they want data, they want certain feedback tools, reports. The guys in the middle, this is a bunch of our crowd here at the table tonight, is you've got to look at a lot more. But it's how you look at that data and how it's presented and how you're leveraging that information and that technology that is much important. Again, you don't need too much information, you need the right information. Doctors, patients, the nursing personnel, everybody has a different set of needs. But if all this is tied together and easy to get to and intuitive, then you've got a much better opportunity to provide a better guest experience. Little case study right here. We did a job. It's just I want to be careful here. I know this isn't a commercial. This is me just saying we deployed a process that saved this hospital money. Okay, but basically what we did is we connected the admin discharge technology to the automation system. And basically when that patient came in the room, as soon as they checked in and they were assigned a room, that room went from unoccupied to occupied, meaning it was shut down, minimal airflows, reduced the air handling load and energy and everything associated with that air handler. It's running 24/7, 365. We save $150,000 a year just in energy costs. But the interesting feedback that we got from the patients, from the staff, and everything else was much different. It was more about the room was comfortable right when they came in. It wasn't we checked them in, the nurse went over, checked thermostat, turned it up, turned it down depending on the sun load. No, the room was comfortable between when they checked in and took the elevator up to the 6th floor and walked in. Again, their first experience being, that was smooth, my place is comfortable, and the caregiver is focused on me, not changing thermostats, things like that. And then same thing, when they checked out, the room goes back down in a reduced mode. This was all done without occupancy sensors. It was just leveraging 2 databases, admin discharge, automation, right? Some stuff in the middle, pretty simple to do, but and sometimes overlooked in other hospitals. So we talk about the continuum of care and how leveraging technology is going to span all of these. So the connectivity here is easy, right? It's the internet. You can make it secure with firewalls and everything else. But the little bits of data we know either about that patient or about that process can enable us to tweak the process maybe over here in the rehab center, or tweak the process in the offsite surgery center, such that we can enhance the process all the way through. And if you're looking at it from a management, just I am responsible for all these remote facilities, you have the opportunity to look at each one of these and not have to manage all that data. If all you want to know is, do I have any fire alarms? You just, that's just fire alarms. That's all you're looking for. It's very easy to do. Connectivity to all those points is not the challenge it used to be, but the opportunity to do more with less, more efficiently, and patient focused. That's the opportunity. Downtime, nobody likes downtime, whether it's an elevator, obviously. If it's an operating room, it's a much bigger deal. So we talk about things, if you look at the bottom scale here, that's the depth of data-driven insight. Okay, up in the far right-hand corner, that's when you start getting into, AI stuff, and it's not futuristic. It's very real, very here today. But the upper left-hand side of that scale is where leveraging technology allows you to provide faster response, decrease costs, which is always under pressure, and increase performance. Performance can be, physical activity, energy performance. It can be the performance of staff. It can be, the performance of the entire guest experience. That's kind of how the two drive each other. Is you start, you got remote access, you got everything in the middle with deploying automated information that basically deploys processes without a person even in the middle. And artificial intelligence starts to come in there, and that's, that can be a very enabling, what I call a very enabling process. Real quickly, I'll touch on construction costs here. We put a lot of technology in places, and I would say the type of job we build now versus the type of job we built even 10 years ago, and even 10 years before that. I remember one room, we counted up the number of blue Cat 6, Cat 5 cables that came into that room. 65 cables came into a room. And we all sat there and scratched our head. We were taking apart a room, doing a pilot study, and we kind of said, got to be a better way to do this. It's just because even nothing else, all that blue wire costs money, right? But the interesting thing is there was no common backbone for all that stuff. So you would have 65 technologies running across each other, and heaven forbid you even put them on somewhat of common network without any sort of long-term plan. And you got the opportunity for disaster. So, we look at taking and say, okay, well, how can we do this better, right? So what can be on a common backbone and what needs to be on different, secure, they're all secure, but I'm saying different code-driven backbones. So on the right side, you see all the fire alarm devices, right? Because that's a UL listed system, but integrated with the HVAC system, but not on the same backbone. You can do that, but you really want to look at the business value of it. Real quickly here, the integrated building management system. This is, let's just call this your big server here on the right. This is your workstation, your graphic user interface. The types of systems we integrate now with, and those would be what we call northbound integration. This green one's on the left side there. Those are systems all the way down to, the admin discharge, bed management, maintenance management. You could integrate with NOAA, the weather systems. That part is not a challenge anymore. It's taking that part, complementing it with the stuff we already have always talked to, HVAC, shade lighting, fire, power, security, mass notification, legacy systems that have the protocol interfaces, right? You mix those up to apply them to business cases and processes to produce different results or enhanced results, patient experience, operational, financial performance. The right side of that is where the user interface, and that can be the physical user in the hospital employee, or it can be the patient. They start to get what they need in a way that is much more efficient and allows them to make business and operational decisions. Mobile apps, graphics, and dashboards. These are dashboards for the kiosk in the front lobby. It's also the dashboard for the CEO. He just wants to see 5 things on his things. He wants to see all of them in the green. So you kind of look at this as more of a concept drawing. So this is not a connectivity, diagram. Talk about the room itself. So if you look at things like lighting, occupancy, shade control, HVAC control, all that stuff. That was 5 different systems coming into that space, 5 different wiring things. Sometimes we'd hardwire some stuff between them and all that. And then we would try and deploy a strategy to optimize that whole room, but it required 5 different technology providers talking to each other. And again, I kind of look at it and said, okay, what needs to happen in this space to provide the best outcome? You can put all that into one controller that understands lighting for a room, is already pre-programmed for every sort of combination you can think of. It handles occupancy, it handles turn down, it handles shade control, it handles obviously temperature control, things like that, but does these as they are applied to a space versus 5 things having to working together and hoping that they're all on the same page of what the goal of the application is. So you reduce complexity, you eliminate separate systems, you start to save a lot of money in support and installation and deployment costs. Excuse me. There is case for integrating HVAC and fire in this case. It sometimes is driven by the cost, sometimes it's driven by the application, meaning I got a high rise, I'm going to start to do shelter in place type of fire management and HVAC response and control, and those types of things. Those 2 systems are much more set up to do that when they're directly integrated. You can do this and you can still hold on to, you still maintain UL compliance and those types of things. But it's it's not a application for every hospital. Mid-rise hospital, someone's not doing regular smoke control, it's not going to make sense. But our metro areas are getting more dense. Hospitals are more vertical, they are flatter in those areas. We have to have different solutions. Just talk about prefabbing some things. We talk light sensors. Just up on the top there, that little sensor up there now is pretty darn smart, right? So it is not a motion sensor, so I can track people who's moving around. It's a light sensor, so I can adjust the light if there's nobody in the space, turn it down, save energy. It's a power sensor. I can tell how much is drawn from that particular fixture. It's a temperature sensor. It's calibrated based on, it's sitting at the ceiling, it's going to be a high temperature, but gives you an idea of the temperature in that space, again, tied to what's happening in that space. It is basically, the real benefit here is that it extends and lays down a Bluetooth environment. So you talk about integrating additional technologies in that space, picking up the smart hand purifier dispenser or the smart water fountain without having to run additional infrastructure. So that technology, that's available today, but that is basically what I call an enabling technology that enables hundreds of things far beyond just lighting control. Talk about prefabrication. This is, you'll see a lot of these types of systems around where they basically say, okay, that's all of our hospital systems are going to become standardized at the terminal level, and we can prefabricate these things. So we can get them the pre-construction cost down quite a bit. but we also start to create a standardization so that facility says, okay, I got a problem with this. I can just change it out flange to flange. And it's got handles on it. It's made to service and everything else. That's just all part of upfront cost savings and some support savings. We did a case study with Turner and a facility where they saved 10 hours a zone. This is more construction cost related, but it gives you an idea how to leverage smarter devices that are out there up front to reduce first cost as well as operating cost. You're going to start seeing a lot more of this where we look really closely at how we manage airflow in spaces and how we, you see it a lot in pharmacies and operating rooms and in infection control rooms. But you're going to see a lot more in hospitals where you start to see these spaces that were once used for one thing and are now used for another thing, and a way to engineer and deploy those systems up front so that they have that range ability and that flexibility as the space changes. We talked about this, I talked about this earlier. The space is going to change as the users' needs change, as the applied process and that stuff change. So we need to have that flexibility. Biggest thing here, I'm going to run through this last part here, is early engagement. You've got to talk to your technology providers much earlier in the game, all of your technology providers, and move those solutions, those ideas, that collaboration much farther versus waiting till it's just a thing in a spec and then trying to connect it all with a sequence of operation. The real opportunity here is to work out those kinks and work out those design issues and make and all that up front. So you're going to make technology decisions based on business cases. You're not going to make them based on, they'll be challenged by first cost, but they will be laid up against a business case of what we're trying to achieve, not just an overall budget of what we're trying to build. So this requires a lot, what we call a shift left in design and technology integration. So it's just another way of showing the same thing. Once we get over here, we want to build. We want to build and maintain and commission, right? Over here is where we work out all the kinks and bugs and the connectivity and the protocols and the cabling and all that stuff. Again, that can't be just a spec item to be worked out in the field. You will lose every job from a technology opportunity trying to say all you kids in the field will work it all out amongst the technology providers. You just won't get the end result. It just won't happen. So, summarizing, safe patient experiences can be improved. And this is through the application of better technology, use of data, analytics, people and processes. Operational savings will come, is achieved through the same thing. Integrated solutions is obviously a key behind that. One we don't have in here is employee satisfaction. I think we are seeing that the proper deployment of technology really allows people to do what they like to do better. And that means happier people providing better service to our guests in these facilities. Construction cost savings can occur. Again, it requires more thinking about the end game up front. Last thing is engage early. Engage all of your technology providers. Get them to the table. Don't just listen to sales pitch. Draw pictures, kick solutions around the table to where everybody understands what the goal is, not just to physically connect things. That's it for me. I hope that wasn't too much or too fast, but if you can send me any questions you like through chat, and I'll be happy to respond to them offline. So I'll keep you back on track, Seaman.
Thank you. Thanks. Right on time. Thank you very much. And that's a great presentation. I think this is what we do. It's you put it in 45, 50 minutes, what we all do, right? So patient care experience and all the systems you touched on. So excellent presentation. Thank you. Any questions for Dell? Maybe one or two? No? Okay. So is this already in place? Is it fully integrated gel or in use? Or it's just still not fully integrated? Up there. Okay, I think maybe we lost Dell. All right, I see Santiago joined. Santiago, how are you?
Thank you. Just unmuting here. Doing great. Thank you. I appreciate you letting me visit with you all in the chapter. Really fine presentation and useful information. I definitely will be following up. I didn't have any questions, but do appreciate that very timely presentation.
Perfect. Thank you.
Thank
you want to add anything for membership?
Just in regards to membership, I appreciate you announcing that the committee, the membership committee, and just to solicit again interest in those that want to serve on there. Just a general encouragement for all of our sponsors. We just always thank you for your sponsorship, gold sponsors, silver sponsors, all sponsors, and that we reach out to these engineers. As summer is coming, they're getting their plans together, and if we can get folk out to this Squawk Valley conference seminar, that'd be fantastic. Hospital sites, it's always worth the extra nudge because they got a lot going on at the facility. So just give them an extra nudge, try to get that face time. And if you could get an engineer, even on your golf team, we get them on your foursome or get them sponsored all together and just work through Joyce and Beth. I think that'd be fantastic, Arshima, but thank you.
Thank you, Santiago. Thank you for that message. All right, well, we're down to closing time now. So any other comments or questions for us? All right, well, thank you all for joining. Hope you liked the presentation. And thanks for taking time. Have a great day. And we'll talk to you again next time. Take care now. Thank you,
everyone.
Beth. Thank you. Thank you, Beth.
Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you.
Thank you, Dennis. Have a great night, Narshima.
You too, Beth. Thank you.